You don't need a mic, you don't need a TED Talk, you don't even need a crowd to become a great speaker. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Jared Scott. I am a professional speaker. I've booked over 1,000 paid speaking engagements in my career before the age of 30. And in this video, I am going to show you how you can become a great speaker even if you don't have a stage to speak on. The truth is, what you see on stage, that's not what makes a speaker great. What makes a speaker great is everything that happens before the stage, the practice, the dedication, the relentless effort to articulate this message in a way that deeply resonates with your audience. That's what makes a speaker great. So today in this video, I am going to show you 3 ways that I practice my messages. I am not a guru, so I'm not telling you this is how you have to do it. I'm a guide. I'm telling you this is how I do it. It works for me, and maybe it'll work for you. Tip number 1. Practice on audio first. A lot of people like to write down their speeches and then memorize it. The problem with that is we write in written language and we speak in spoken language. So when you're writing your speeches down and memorizing it, you sound robotic because you're memorizing written language and you're trying to speak in written language. It just doesn't sound right. Go watch a TED Talk. Most people write their TED Talks and you can tell. You can tell when somebody's up on stage and they're a natural speaker. It just sounds great. It sounds like a story. But you can tell when somebody wrote it and they're not a real speaker. They're just someone who memorized an essay. And that's exactly how you sound when you write your speeches before you speak them. What I want you to do is I want you to speak it first. It's not going to be perfect or polished, but that's not the point of this exercise. The point of this exercise is to get what's in here out into the world. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your phone, go to the voice memo app, and I want you to record for 10 minutes straight talking about any subject, preferably a subject that you plan on talking about in the future. I want you to just talk. No script, no outline, just talk. It's a brainstorming exercise for 10 minutes. And then what you're going to do is you're going to listen back 3 different times. The first time you listen back, you're going to listen for the information. You're going to realize that you do know a lot about what you're talking about. If you don't know anything about the subject, then maybe we should talk about something else, right? But if you pick something that you're passionate about, that 10 minutes is going to go by so quick. You're like, I know so much. I had more that I wanted to say, and that's a good sign. So what you're going to do the first time you listen back is you're going to listen for the information. You're going to find what we call the meat and potatoes, the parts that are really solid. You really know this is good information. And once you know what that is, you'll be able to compare and contrast with the other information. This is what we call trimming the fat, right? Getting rid of all the junk, all the stuff that didn't really fit. It was just filler information, right? It was empty calories per se. So you're going to get rid of that. You're going to write down, this is where we'll start to take some notes. We're going to write down all of the really good, profound things that we said, the deep things. These are going to become our pillars of our presentation. Write those down. And then we're going to listen through again. This is the second time listening through. Now we're going to listen for tone. How did we sound? You're going to notice that during the meat and potato part, the part that you really knew a lot about, you sounded very confident. But the parts that you were trying to fill information, you sounded uncertain. So let this be a lesson to you. What will happen if you do not practice? You are going to sound uncertain. You are going to sound like you have no clue what you're talking about because you don't. And the point of listening back for tone is important because you could be the best speaker in the world, but if your tone is off, people might not want to listen to your information. You could be saying great things, but if you're screaming at an audience in a high-pitched voice, nobody's going to listen. On the other hand, I have seen some speakers that are saying absolutely nothing, but they have this deep voice that everybody loves to listen to, and they're saying the most simplistic things, and people are just like, amen, hallelujah, you know? And so that's also true as well. That's how important tone is. All right, and the third time you're going to listen to this audio track again. You've already listened for the information, you've listened for the tone, now you're going to listen for the pace. You might be saying great things in your speech, but you might be saying them too fast and nobody can really understand what you're saying, and so at the end of the day, nobody's really getting anything from your speech. You know, that might be you. And on the other hand, you might be speaking so slow that people are falling asleep in your... Sorry, I might not use that. I don't know. We'll see. Pace is important. You get the point. I'm going to use music as an example. I make music, so pace is like tempo to me. During exciting moments, you need to keep a certain beat. You need to keep a certain tempo to keep the audience engaged and on their toes, right? But there's moments that you need to slow down and really make the audience think and reflect about their own life. You see how that sounded? I could have said, you need to make the audience think and reflect about their own life, right? Because that's what they're here for, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking way too fast for something that important. So you need to listen back, take notes, practice your pace, practice your tone, dial in your information, and once you've done this process a few times, you'll be ready to move on to step number 2. Step number 2 is where you pull out the camera. We're going to do the exact same thing that we did on the voice memo on video now. Film ourselves for 10 minutes giving the same speech that we've already refined, and then we are going to watch it back 3 separate times. The first time, I want you to mute the video and just watch your body language. Some of you might be using your hands in unnecessary ways, like this. Some of you might be stiff as a board and look like those fish from SpongeBob. Meep, meep. But either way, now you know and you can fix it. Now I want you to play the video again. This is the second time, and you're going to turn the sound back on, that's fine, but you are going to watch for your eye contact. Now, of course, I don't want you staring into the camera the entire time, because that's not how you're going to speak to your audience. But you do need to make eye contact with your audience from time to time. So if you're watching this video back and the entire time you're staring at the ground or at the ceiling, then you need to work on your eye contact. Yes, I know some of you are like, Jared, I can't do it. When I look people in the eyes, it freaks me out. I start to forget my speech. Trust me, I know I was a shy kid. So what I did early on in my career to get over this feeling was I would kind of squint. But you know how you can kind of blur everything out with your vision without being like this? Can you even tell I'm doing it right now? There you go. Everything's blurry. I can't see nothing. So when I'm looking out into the audience, they're blurry. I don't really see you, but it looks like I'm looking right at you right now, doesn't it? Be careful doing this. You could faint, get a little dizzy. But that's what I was doing early on in my career until I got over the fear. I was blurring out my vision. It looked like I was looking at you in the eyes, but really I was in my own world. All right, moving on. Finally, the third time that you watch this video, I want you to watch for your movement. Are you pacing back and forth? If you are, here's something you could try. In order to make sure that you are talking to the entire audience, not just one section because you are standing still like a pole, you want to make sure you hit each zone of the stage. So what you can do is walk in a W pattern from the front left to the back center, to the front center, to the back right, to the front right, and you just repeat this W pattern over and over and over. Remember your pace. Don't haul ass in a W. Could you imagine? Make sure you are walking nice on pace with the words, and if you get excited you can move a little faster, but as you calm down you need to slow down as well. All right, moving on to tip number 3. It is finally time to write the speech. Think about it like a research paper. You have to do the research before you write the paper. That's what you did step 1 and step 2. That's your trial, that's your error, that's your finding out, that's your research. You've listened to it over and over again. You've taken notes on what you should say and what you shouldn't say. You've watched it over and over again. You got your body language down. Now it's time to input all the information and all the notes that you've taken and create this overall masterpiece. If you are a writer, then this is second nature to you. If you're not a writer, then use ChatGPT. Of course, do not let it write for you because it will write like a robot, but it can help you kind of collect your thoughts and put them in order, and then you write it in your spoken language. And now that the speech is complete, you have something to practice. Yes, I'm talking about practice. You need to practice. You need to practice like there is no tomorrow. I remember when I was 18 years old, I got this opportunity to speak with this group called Team Truth, and I had to memorize a speech in 2 weeks before my first gig, and I was up on the roof of my apartment complex in Los Angeles going over that speech over and over and over again, so much that they called the cops on me, bro. They called the cops because I was disturbing the peace, I guess. But I was practicing like a crazy person because I was not going to stand up in front of people and not know what I was going to say. I know that's your biggest fear, so practice. Alleviate the uncertainty that is bringing the fear and be certain about what you are going to say because you've said it so many times that you could say it in your sleep. This is an extra gem for those of you that have made it this far in this video. If you record an audio of you saying this speech, again, after you've written it down, play that audio as you fall asleep and as you wake up in the morning. Because in between the state of consciousness and unconsciousness, your brain is in what's called theta mode. This is when your brain waves slow down and your subconscious is wide open and it's open to new information. It'll rewire your brain so you can deeply know and retain your message. Well, that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, I think you'll enjoy these videos right here. I put together a playlist for you. It took me a really long time, so please check it out. If not, it's okay. See you next time. Peace.